Hello everyone, the product that we will be reviewing is Imperium CPQ. This is one of the products from the Imperium product suite, which helps the customer to configure price and quote depending on their requirements. The main functionality of this product helps the user to customize the quotes, customize the pricing, customizing the quantity based on the needs of the customers. Moving into the application itself. So once we have the application open up, it will look similar to what you are seeing on your screen right now. There will be a documentation section which will provide you all the relevant documentation needed to get yourself used to the system. It has all the step-by-step instructions, which is helpful for the new users, and it would help them navigate through this product effectively. The next we have is the dashboard. Dashboard will give the user a holistic overview of the key metrics that they are looking into the system, which can include like active contact, active leads, open opportunities, closed opportunities, and different kind of KPIs that can be added into this dashboard as per the requirements. Moving on to the next section is the sales section, which contains lead. Lead section will include all the leads that are in the system through different channels that have been aggregated into the Imperium CPQ product. To create a new lead through this, you will have to click on new, enter a few details of the potential lead. Contact type would be lead. If this is an existing account or a new account, let's just create a new account, new customer. Customer type would be customer. Primary contact would be the person who we have entered, and then we click on save. This will basically populate the Gym Corporation field in here. Next, we would be needing an email address of the person, and we would also be needing the topic for this lead. Once we have all the required information added into the system, we can save this lead. After a few interactions, if the leads is supposed to qualify, so we can move this to the next stage and then qualify the lead. We also have a button at the top which have qualify and disqualify. So the functionality of the qualify button at the top of the screen is to give access to the users into the portal that we will be discussing in the next section of this demo. So when I click on qualify, the system would ask me if I want to give access to this user to the portal. The portal would have catalog and all the relevant details which would be accessed by the external users. So if I want to give access, I'll click yes, and an email would be sent out to this email address of this lead, which can then access into the system, having all the required information and relevant details, giving your clients an easy access to review your product catalog, pricing, and other features. So let's click on yes. So basically when I click on yes, it sends out an email. Next we have is this opportunity created. In this section, we would be entering more details about this qualified opportunity. So in this case, the first one, we would have to select the price list. Price list is basically a price list which is created in the backend, which we will review later in this demo. The price list would contain a list of products associated with that price list, depending on however the user wants to configure their price listing. This will give this will populate the product catalog for the users, which they can access from the portal and create their customized codes. So in our case, we have two price lists set up. So let's select electronic price list. This will just show up all the products within the electronic price list to the client when they're creating the code. So in case if we are working with wholesalers and resellers, we can have different options and different pricing sets for each one of them for different products. So in those situations, price list is helpful. Now we enter in more details to complete out this opportunity. We have a close date, this quarter, and you can also add additional contacts for this opportunity, but which will also allow them to access the system, review the product catalog, and all of the different features that this organization has to offer. Let me click on save. Now basically we will have to follow the business process flow here. So to qualify, click on qualify. And in the develop phase, you have different features which you can add in here. Decision maker would be, in this case, the main point of contact, but if this one have multiple point of contacts in here, so you can type in the name in here or search in here to see the relevant users. So in our case, Jim is the decision maker. We move on to the next stage, propose. In this one, you select the probability, the rating, all the relevant details to be entered in here, and the rating, and if the code is accepted or not. When you click code accepted, you click on finish. This basically puts your puts the opportunity into a warm state. Then we click on save and close, which basically closes out this opportunity. Now we move on to the section for codes, which is the main chunk of this product. So in the code feature, the user will have access to create code for their clients from the CRM, as well as when the clients would have access to the portal, they can create the codes and send it into the system so the sales rep can review these features and address them accordingly. So let's go ahead and create a code in this system. So let's take the customer as Jim. Job here. The opportunity would be looking for electronic items. You can name this code. Code items. And then you click on save. Once the save button has been clicked, the price list item shows up in here. Then the sales rep can create or add new products in here. So let's go ahead and add new product in here, which will basically list down all the relevant products in this price list. So when I click on product and services, so only the products and services within the electronic item price list are showing up. So let's select television in this case, which will show up the image of the product as well as the product attributes. In this case, we have only one product attribute, that is the screen size. By default, it's showing 55. And then like we have different, the base price is 100 for 55-inch screen size, and then there is no attribute at this point of time, so the total price per unit is actually 100. So to change the attributes or look for different attributes, we have different options here. So if you click on this one, so you'll have different option sets here. So let's select 90 and see, click 90 and hit save. The system will then process the price of this attribute. So the 90-inch television would cost $599 additional on top of the base price. So what the system does is it actually adds up the base price and the attribute price, and then the user would add in the quantity. So in this case, let's suppose it's 1. Then we have the feature for the discount. We have fixed type and the percentage. The fixed amount would just give you a fixed amount that you need to enter, and then you click on save, and then save and close. So now we have the product being shown here. We can add multiple different products here. Like if the television needs to be set up with a different configuration, we would need to select the television and then select a different attribute so it can show up the price accordingly. And then you hit and close. Other than that, if you want to add any other product, we also have the functionality of that. So in this case, let's take an example. Once we have all the relevant information entered or the products being configured, we have an option of the validity and the effectiveness date of this code, which can then be sent out to the client. So in this case, when we hit send code, an email is sent out to the primary contact or the contact, whoever needs to receive this code. They would be receiving this code email, and then they can go into the portal where they can access different codes that has been sent by the sales rep to them. Moving on to the next section is the order. So the order section basically happens when the code, in our case, if the code has been accepted by the customer. So in this case, this code came in from the customer. These codes were created by the internal sales rep. So once the code gets accepted, let's open this code, and we also have an option to revise the code. Clicking on revise would basically allow the sales rep to modify the code. At this point of time, when the code is in active state, there is no modification as this is under review. So once the code gets accepted, in this case, let's go ahead and accept the code here. So once the code is accepted, we can create orders against those codes. In our case, let's open up this code. So this is an accepted code. Now we can create an order. So once we click on create order, it will basically create an order request for this product. Create order. The order is being created, which basically moves the user to the next stage of the business cycle where we are in the order state. And then if once the order, the sales rep can put in different terms in here, freight terms, payment terms, and then once the order has been fulfilled, so it can be marked as fulfilled, and the order gets closed, and the order status also changes it to orders fulfilled. Moving on to the more interesting piece of the sales CPQ is the configuration of the products. So to configure the products, you would be heading into the management section of this application, where you'll have product management section. In this section, you will have product services, price list, unit group, attributes. Let's go into product and services. So what does product and services do is it gives the user the flexibility to create product, enter the relevant details, enter it into a price list so the users can see those products into the system. So let's open up an example and see how this is set up and how it actually functions. So let's open the Hydro Flask product. So in the configuration of this product, the product type was selected as product, unit group is each. Then we had the name of the product. We also have an option of adding the image of the product. In this case, we have added this image. This is an image which would be shown up for the product when a product is selected. Then we have attributes coming up in here, which basically is the size and the cap design. In this case, we have different options that we can look into. So attribute category. So in case, let's take cap design, and then you have different cap designs. So in this case, if you want to add a new attribute, you can add a new attribute which will basically align with the product requirements, and then add in there, make those changes, and the product attributes will start showing up in here. We also have an option of, let's create a product attribute for the size for this example. So in this case, it would be size. So I type in size. And then we have different options, 32, 40, and 64 if you want to add more attributes that can be attributed by clicking on new attribute. So let's select 64 ounce in here. Click save and close. Now we can see like this 64 ounce has been added into there. To configure this attribute in detail, we need to click on this. We go into this product, attribute this to a price list. So the product name, product attribute, and the price. So in this case, let's just give this product a 40 price. So click on save and close. And now we also have an option of marking this as default yes or no. So in most cases, when we are selecting a product or configuring a product, the selected product would be shown but with the default attributes. So in this case, let's go back on the main screen of the product. In this case, if I talk about the size, so 32 ounce size default is yes. So when the customer or the sales rep will select this Hydro Flask product, the initial configuration of the product would be set at 32 ounce, at which there would be no additional price, but since we already have a base price attributed to this, that would be in there. Then we have the cap design, so we have additional attributes in here as well. So the cap design with the flex zip, it would be 0 because this is set as default, and then the color black is also set as default, which is also priced at 0. So this is, and if the pricing needs to change or for additional attributes need to be added, so these can be added from here for each of the products. Next section we have in our list is the price list. This is where the user would be able to add the product into their relevant price list. In our case, let's look into the electronic price list. So this is one price list that we have created. The price list items, this contains only the 3 items that we were previously seeing for the client that was working within the electronic price list. So you have an option of adding like different products and their price per unit. So in our case, we have all these products from our product and services section, and then you can add any of these products in here, which would just basically be added into the price list, and then user would be able to access this from the model-driven app as well as from the portal. So we can add this price list product into this price list to basically update the catalog. Next we have the attributes. So these are all the list of attributes for all of the products that we have in our system. So this is just a list of attributes to just for giving an overview of like how many attributes are in there. This list can be customized, so it can be looked into a more granular way. Like we also have an option of adding product and then attributes, so it's listing down accordingly. So this is how the product, their price listing, their pricing attributes are set up from the management section. Going back into this one, so the codes that are being created by the sales rep can also be created by the client's customer. So if you are using this product, your clients can also review your product catalog by accessing the portal, which would have all the relevant product catalogs, the pricing, their codes, their order invoices, order request, all the relevant details would be available in the portal section. Next, we would be moving into the portal section details.